to all of you. And today I want to talk a little bit about actually the third step in the trust transformation process that I had presented on earlier this week or this weekend. It was only a few days ago, Saturday. I can't believe it. Um, but anyway, I wanted to touch a little bit on that because I know when I did the presentation, I didn't have a lot of time to go through each of the steps in detail. And lately, just the past couple days, like I shared on my late night live last night, was this idea of releasing the outcome and being okay with the outcome. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And step three, if you were not on the presentation about the trust transformation, step three in that process is faith. So how do you get yourself to have faith when you are not feeling faith? When you're feeling doubt and worry and fear and scarcity and all of these things that keep you out of faith and out of alignment. How do you just suddenly feel faith when that's not where you are? So aside from going through the first two steps, which will raise your energetic frequency and your vibrational energy and get you to a place where you can step into that place of faith, right? You have to do steps 1 and 2 first. But once you do that and you are ready to step into step number 3, that's where you get to watch what's going to happen with curiosity. And that's what it means to release the outcome. If there's a situation that you are worried and stressed about, you feel like you're on this hamster wheel of worry that you just can't get off, right? When you are in that situation and you're just worrying all the time, you can release the outcome by going through the first two steps of acceptance and empowerment. And then when you get to faith, you get to watch what's going to happen. And it's such a gift. You might not feel like it in the very beginning, before you're actually into step 1, when you're still in that place of worry, you don't see it as a gift because you're worried about the outcome. That's what worry means. If you are feeling overwhelmed or worried about something, it's because you are concerned about the outcome, about the future, about something that hasn't happened yet. And it may or may not happen, depending on your situation. But it's you not being in the present moment. That is what creates worry and overwhelm. So when you release the outcome and you stop thinking about the future and you focus on the present moment and what you can control, you'll start to notice that worrying subside a little bit. So I'm not going to elaborate on steps 1 and 2 because I already did that in my previous lives. So I will let you go and check those out. But for step 3, when you're ready to step into faith after you've raised your energy to at least a place of neutrality, if not higher, then you get to notice what's happening. And you notice it with a curiosity. So one thing that you can notice is you can notice the evidence around you that shows you that everything is happening for your highest good. Because your mind moves in the direction of its focus. Or I think it's Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you are focused on everything that's going wrong, that's what you're going to see. Because your brain will actually be looking for things. Your brain will always agree with you. Right? Your subconscious mind will always agree with you. It's your best friend. Dana Wilde teaches this in her Train Your Brain program, which I think she's expanded it. It's been several years um, since I've taken her program, so I think it's not even called that anymore. It might be something else, but anyway, it's your best friend. So when you tell it something with your thoughts, when you think a thought that says, "Oh, life is so hard," let's say that that's your thought for an example. When you think thoughts like that and you focus on thoughts like that, your subconscious mind will literally look around your life and try to point out things that will prove it to you, to show you that you're right. So it'll show you, I'm trying to think of examples, examples for life being hard. It'll show you all of the ways that you're failing, right? All of those things will come to your mind. It'll show you the things that you're having a hard time with. It will show you random situations that may or may not be connected to you, but you'll pick up on them and you'll be like, "Oh, see, life is so hard. See that thing that just happened? That proves life is so hard," because that's what your brain does. But if you focus on thoughts such as everything is working out for my highest good, or I know God is in control. That's another good one. Thoughts along those lines, then the same thing will happen. Your subconscious mind will look for ways to prove to you that that's true, right? Like in my late night live last night, I shared how yesterday all these forms of abundance just came flowing in all in one day, right? And the reason I was able to speak about those is because I was noticing them. Because whether or not I was in a great mindset of empowerment or a mindset of scarcity and fear and doubt and worry, regardless of where I was in my mindset, those things more than likely still would have happened, right? The mail still would have come, and the news still would have been announced and still would have happened, right? The connections that I made still would have happened, but I wouldn't have seen them as positive things. I would have seen I actually probably wouldn't have seen them at all. I probably would have been ungrateful for them. Like, "Oh yeah, I got my check, but it was only, so much instead of a higher amount," right? So then I'm focusing on the negative. Or, "Yeah, I made some connections, but I wish I could have connected with so and so," right? Like, those are examples of how the same things would have happened, but I would have been focused on the negative. And so in my mind, in my experience, I would not have experienced yesterday as being a blissfully wonderful and abundant day. I wouldn't have had that experience. Instead, I would have had like a blah experience where I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, it was just another day and this happened and whatever." And that would have led me to have a lower vibration, and it would have led me to look for other things along that same vibrational frequency, the lower frequencies. And it would attract those things, right? That's law of attraction, right? Um, so releasing the outcome and just being a curious observer, you don't get to judge it. You don't have to sit there and judge what you're seeing about whether it's good or bad. You just get to observe it. And if you've done the work where you've expanded your energy and raised your frequency to higher than neutral, right? Neutral is like our baseline, right? Like we want to be at least at neutral because then we've completely realized the outcome. But if you want to be focused on the positive, you want to be slightly above neutral. You want to have that higher frequency. And if that's where you are, you're going to notice all these amazing things happening, and your experience is going to be happier healthier, more empowered. You're going to feel like you're in control, like you can make clear decisions. Like all of that happens when you release the outcome. So it's kind of funny. In order to feel like you're more in control, you actually have to release control. I know, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. You will gain more control over your life when you release control and you let your soul guide you and do the talking, right? So evidence. You want to take notice of the evidence around you, and you want to see how it is serving you. You don't want to look at what you perceive to be the negative and evidence. You want to look at what's happening around you that you can notice and say, "Wow, that serves me," right? Like I just had an experience where I was trying something new, had no idea what I was doing, and there's a lot of mistakes that I made along the way, and was kind of and I had to like do a lot of like energy work to keep myself in a higher state, right? Because it was so easy. It could have been so easy for me to be like, oh my gosh, like I can't handle this. I'm a failure. This is totally messed up. It's not going the way I planned. Like, why don't I just stop now? Right? But I chose not to see it that way. I chose to say, wow, you know what? This is such an amazing learning experience. Look at everything I get to learn right now. Look at what I get to learn about this aspect and that aspect of the situation. Like, there's so many aspects that can't even go over them all. But the idea was I was able to look at the whole situation as a blessing and feel really empowered about the situation instead of feeling like defeated and worried. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm human, right? I did have some worry sneak in there, but I was able to manage my worry because I knew what to do. I knew how to go through these steps with myself and come out the other side releasing the outcome and therefore actually regaining control of my outcome. I know. It's if you've never heard this before, you're probably like, "What is this girl talking about?" But I tell you, this is how it works. This is absolutely how it works, and it's not just me. This way of working, following this method has worked for clients of mine. It's worked for my friends, my colleagues, other coaches in the field. Like this is how it works. You release the outcome and you gain control. um, so how else? How else can you get yourself to have faith and release the outcome? Gratitude journal. That's another one. I would love for each of you to have a gratitude journal. Every single day you write down what you are grateful for. Because again, this is refocusing your mind. So the first thing I just talked about was the evidence of what's happening around you. And actually, I did mention this in my live, but I felt like it needed to be repeated. The evidence of what's happening around you, and if you have not checked her out yet, I would highly recommend that you check out the book by Gina Gabellini. Hold on, I will tell you. Um, ah, Speed Dial to Profit. That is the name of her book, and it's a workbook. I printed out pages of the workbook because I'm in her coaching program, and we all get we get access to her book. But I would highly encourage you guys to purchase that book off of wherever, Amazon or whatever bookstore that you like to frequent, because seriously, following this process, it opens you up in an incredible kind of way. So that's the evidence, writing down the evidence. Gratitude journal. is where you can just write down everything that you're grateful for every single day. And again, it will shift your energy and refocus your mind so that you are seeing and experiencing more abundance in your life, and more of a knowing that life is happening for you, not to you, right? Yes, I'm just checking. I have a list here. I want to make sure I go over everything with you guys. How else can you move into this step of faith? So evidence, gratitude journal, prayer, meditation, going into regular meetings with source and creation energy, right? We've done that before. We've done that on these lives before, where I've led you guys through some meditation experiences to get connected. Because when you're connected, then you can move through these 3 steps so much easier, and you can start to get results faster in your life. So prayer, meditation, and taking that time to meet with your higher wisdom, meet with creator energy, right, with source. Take that time. It's so important, and you will receive messages that you never would have thought of, right? And automatic writing. Automatic writing is another one. And I shared this last night, actually, when I was talking about my own experience of moving myself through this process, where writing down, just writing, like, I'm trying to explain automatic writing really quick if you haven't like heard of it before, if you're new and you're not familiar with some of the other videos I've done. So automatic writing is when you sit down and you just allow yourself to write. You don't think about what you're going to write. You just do it. You just let your hand move, and you'll receive messages that way. It just happens. Whatever it is that you need to get out will come out. Sometimes it's a way of releasing, and you're releasing fearful and doubting and worrying energy in that way to get it out of you. And sometimes it's bringing in the positive energy, bringing in messages from source and the divine about love and peace and joy, right? So automatic writing can be another way to move into that 3rd step of faith. And finally, have a tribe. You want to make sure that you have someone that you can go to when you feel like you need support, like when I had my own little moment a couple nights ago where I needed support myself. Thankfully, I was able to move myself through these steps. When I called on my guides for support, I had like a multidimensional kind of tribe that was there with me, supporting me through that process, and I could feel all the different energies with me. Because it was really late at night, and I didn't want to call anybody and wake them up, and my spouse had already gone to bed. It was late. So, in that instance, I had to move myself through the process. But I called at least on my spiritual tribe to help me to do that. Because we don't do this alone. We don't. It may seem like you can do it alone, but we are all connected, like spiritually, multidimensionally, and we are all supporting each other and holding space and energy for each other, even if you don't realize it, that it's happening, it's real. And it's a blessing that we're all able to do that, especially now when we're not even like physically connecting with each other. We're all seeing each other virtually, but we hold that space. And in fact, here I will give you like a real example um, of a tribe, holding space. Part of the coaching program that I am in, we have these working calls where we get together all on Zoom so we can all see each other, and we literally just hold space for each other while we sit down and get work done. And that's the call. So it's literally it's a working call. We do some energy work at the beginning of the call. And of course we're there for each other if we have like questions or whatever, but primarily it's just a way that we can all hold space for each other energetically. And the work that gets done on these calls, it like pretty much every person so far that has reported their experience on these calls has said that they've gotten more done just in that space of the call than they've gotten done on their own at any other time. It's like, the difference of having that tribe there to support you, even if it's just for accountability, right? Like that experience of having a group of people that has your back and is ready to support you and hold you accountable and just be there for you holding the space, like that makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. So there you have it. Those are the few things that I wrote down that I wanted to make sure that I talked about today on this particular Facebook Live episode of Holistic Wellness Wednesday. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you're all able to maybe try this. Try some of these exercises about releasing the outcome. And if you're feeling bold and brave, maybe share. Share how it's worked for you, or write about it or something, like stay connected and let us know what your experience has been. All right, I will let you guys go. You guys have an amazing rest of your day. Enjoy your Wellness Wednesday, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now.